Hello everyone, welcome to our presentation on street design in a different cultural context, the case of Great South Road in Auckland, New Zealand. First of all, we would like to thank the organizers for providing the opportunity to present in the 54th International Conference of the Architectural Science Association. Despite its bicultural history of New Zealand, it is largely European preferences that have shaped the public spaces. However, with immigration and travel, the country is rapidly becoming multicultural. Pacific people and Asians now comprise larger proportions of the population, alongside those who identify as Maori and European. If public spaces are to respond to these changing demographics, there is little empirical evidence to help urban designers and public space managers achieve this. This presentation examines Great South Road, which is a Polynesian shopping district in South Auckland. The presentation identifies characteristics that support people's stationary and social activities along the street. Great South Road is a popular shopping destination in Auckland. The street runs along a northwest-southeast direction. It is a place of ethnic commerce, with the majority of premises operated by Asians. It is well known for its low-priced goods. Most of the businesses are fashion and household item shops. These premises offer a wide range of goods, from ethnic fashion items to blankets, suitcases, and souvenirs. There are fewer numbers of services such as pharmacies, butchers, and banks along the street. Food and eating establishments are limited to a number of takeaways, bakeries, and Asian restaurants. The services and food establishments are a minority amongst the large number of Asian fashion and household shops. The shopping strip is frequented by the Polynesian population, and thus it is now known as a Polynesian shopping district. It is an enlivened street overflowing with people and activities. The businesses appear to attract people from Pacific Island and Asian backgrounds. Many of the shops extend their displays out into the street, which in turn leads to a chaotic appearance. There are no clear boundaries between the adjacent businesses, and it is difficult to see the shop fronts of the intertenancy walls separating one shop from another. Clothes, bags, blankets, artificial flowers are all hung out outside the shops from the awnings. The prices and sale items are marked on the products. The customers can touch and engage with the products on the footpaths without the need to go inside the stores. Culture is not displayed here by fixed architectural characteristics such as the building facades. Instead, it is represented in the non-fixed elements of the street such as signs, window displays, or the goods expanded on the footpaths, as well as the sensory qualities of the street such as smells from cultural food. Our research methodology involved behavior mapping. We wanted to link patterns of use with the design characteristics of the street. We also interviewed a number of people that were observed while lingering and socializing on the street environment. Well, 2,554 people were engaged in some form of stationary activity during our observation period. We also put our data into the ArcGIS map, where you can see on the right. The diagram on the left shows that the proportions of different ethnic cultures which were engaged in different types of activities did not relate to the ethnic population distribution of Mangere Otathuhu, which is the suburb in which Great South Road is located in. The street clearly attracts higher proportions of Asians and lower proportions of Europeans. As you can see from the table, adults were seen in greater numbers, and teenagers were seen the least. The numbers of women engaged in different types of activities outnumbered men. Most people came to the street with their friends or family members. Europeans were observed in smaller numbers. Their group sizes were also small. A higher percentage of Europeans were observed alone. But Pacific Islanders took part in activities in larger groups. Many of them came to the street accompanied by family members and friends for their activities. One of them said that our groups are big, we have bigger cars, we have families where we all meet up together, and then we start walking together. These shops attracted greater numbers of Pacific Islanders and Asians more than any other location. Polynesians were observed to be engaged in social activities around these businesses. The businesses along the street were not considered attractive to Europeans. Fewer Europeans were seen to be window shopping along the street, and instead they were most often observed on the commercial seating outside the local bar. While these type of shop fronts with a lot of activities around them might create a familiar street pattern for Pacific Islanders and Asian, it generated an unfamiliar and exotic setting for Europeans and Maori. Their recommendations often included bringing order to the chaotic environment. Children also interacted with the open shop fronts, which expanded their products onto the footpaths. Some placed toys and items which were attractive for children on the floor, and children found the opportunity to touch and play with these items while their parents were shopping. Pacific Islanders and Asians said that what they liked most about the street were these cultural shops, which responded to their cultural needs. Pacific Islanders and Asians stated the importance of cultural shops for their culture. Asians stated the importance of cultural shops, including Indian clothing, sari and jewelry shops, different Asian restaurants and sweet shops as places for their ethnic group social activities. There were a number of Asian restaurants on Great South Road, yet Asians would like to add more. Asians also referred to the visual culture and decorations of the storefronts, such as those selling Indian saris or Indian jewelry, where they enjoyed window shopping. Pacific Islanders usually stopped to have a look at various traditional clothing, such as lavas and other fabrics with flower patterns. Many social activities happened in front of eating premises. The importance of food and eating places for social activities of different cultural groups were confirmed through the interviews. Cultural eating food places was very important for Asians and Indians. Other cultural groups did not place much weight on cultural and ethnic eating premises. Pacific Islanders, for example, mainly stated bakeries, takeaways, and the international fast food restaurant McDonald's as places that they usually visit for their social activities. The design attributes of Great South Road were considered by users to be the next most important factor influencing use after business activities. Footpaths have a reasonable width and substantial length of the street. But sometimes the congregation of groups, especially those with larger numbers, block the footpaths for pedestrian traffic. Many Pacific Islanders meet, stand, and socialize on the footpaths in larger groups for longer time periods and talk. Also, some window shopping took place in larger groups. The nature of the shop fronts, displaying different goods on footpaths, and the number of shoppers lingering and socializing in larger groups blocked the footpaths and made it hard for pedestrians to pass by. While these images might create a familiar street pattern for users of some cultures, people of other cultures such as Europeans and Maori found it difficult to tolerate the overcrowded footpaths. Therefore, footpath width is an important design factor that should be considered. Sitting, eating, and socializing in groups was a popular activity among Pacific Islanders. Public benches along the main strip were often well used and sometimes overused by Pacific Islanders. Many larger groups of Pacific Islanders frequented public benches. However, within these groups, some members had to stand or lean or even squeeze together on these benches. The numbers and arrangements of the seating did not accommodate for sitting activities in larger groups. Even when numbers of seats were enough and there were adequate numbers of seats provided, they were located too far away from each other, and they couldn't be conveniently used by the members of large groups. To conclude, Great South Road is a successful street in attracting people from some ethnic backgrounds to the sidewalks and to support their various social and individual activities. However, there are a number of steps that could be taken in order to make the street environment even better. For example, having the right retail tenant mix that serves daily and weekly shopping and leisure places to eat and drink, as well as other services such as fashion and footwear, is important for the street to attract different, diverse, and different ethnic groups. There are also a number of design factors to take into account. Users' needs were associated with wider footpaths and more seating places along them. Also, the importance of environmental comfort characteristics such as shade and shelter from rain is another factor that needs to be addressed. Although observations showed success in Great South Road in terms of children's activities, interviews suggested designing for children in the commercial street is a priority. At the end, I would like to thank you for your attention.